Hey guys, Charlie here, back for another video. This is another new album review. I'm sorry that it's coming a little bit late. Of course, I am reviewing the new album from one of my top three favorite bands of all time, Iron Maiden, and this was quite an unexpected release for me. I did a video at the start of this year on my most hyped releases of 2021. I talked about some releases that have come out already, like the new Accept and the new Phantom Elite and Michael Schenker Group and all those albums and stuff like that. And I listed this as and of course the new Megadeth album, which has been in the works for a while, and that's still yet to be announced. But that's a story for another day. There have been talks of a new Iron Maiden album for about a year, but they kind of been kind of quiet and stuff, and there wasn't really any official announcements. Like, the band never told us that they were working on new album. They were kind of trying to keep it a surprise, and that was really good. It was quite a pleasant surprise, this new album, and so Senjutsu, this album was released on September 3rd, 2021, just under 3 weeks ago, on I think it was on Parlophone Records, which is part of the EMI music group, I'm pretty sure. This is the sixth album since the reunion with Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith, so the lineups that's been the same on all the albums since Brave New World. We got Bruce Dickinson on vocals, Steve Harris on bass. We got three lead guitar player and rhythm guitar players, Adrian Smith, Dave Murray, and Yannick Gers, and Nico McBrain on drums, who's been in the band since Peace of Mind in 1983. I did a video about a couple of months ago which was an Iron Maiden album ranking, and I talked about how all these later 2000s albums that they've done are easily some of their most progressive and intricate. Iron Maiden, they're not necessarily a progressive metal band like a band like Dream Theater or Symphony X or Queensryche to some extent. But the music on these albums is very intricate. There's a lot of complexity, especially on this album, which we'll get to, and a lot of very long songs. Like, only 3 songs on this particular album clock in at under 7 minutes in length. So, yes, and in fact, the last 3 songs are all over 10 minutes long. A lot of musical passages, like long intros. The songs, they've got like mellow parts and they have slow builds and stuff. And a lot of lyrics in many cases too. And there's plenty of songs that don't even have choruses, which kind of adds to the complexity. Without further ado, let's go through the track list. So it kicks off with the title track, which is 8.5 minutes long. The song Senjutsu it's a great song, and it's a very different kind of album opener for Iron Maiden. Like, especially back in the 80s, you'd expect, and even on some of the more recent albums, like songs like Wicker Man or Wildest Dreams or Different World, you'd have like a rampaging, fast, 3 to 4 minute new wave of British heavy metal song. You're barely getting any of that on this album. Just as a warning. But I'm sure we've all heard it by now. But it's kind of a big slow album, but song. But it's really good. It's got Nico McBrain doing all these really cool tribal drum things. It's kind of the Japanese themes, which you'll see a lot. Which obviously Senjutsu is a Japanese title, so it's like you got those like big Japanese drum influences. And there's a lot of like these big heavy riffs. I think Bruce sounds great on it. He's kind of singing in a lower register, which Bruce Dickinson sounds pretty good on this album and with this album and Book of Souls, you're kind of starting to hear it break up, but it still sounds very strong. And on this particular song, he's singing in kind of like the lower register. So, yep, it's Senjutsu, big, dramatic album opener, and it's a very cool song. Then the second song, which was the second advanced single that they released, it's called Stratego. Absolutely terrific song. That is that and another song combined is about as close to a traditional fast-paced Iron Maiden song you're gonna get on this album. A lot of this album is very kind of slow and dark and brooding sounding, but it is excellent. So, Stratego, it's a great, upbeat, fast-paced, galloping song. It's got a great chorus, great guitar riffs. There's a lot of great guitar playing on this album from the 3 guitar players, I will say that. With this, the only problem I have with this song is that, Bruce's vocals feel kind of muffled or lower in the mix. I wish they were kind of more prominent, in it, but, it's still a really great song, easily one of the highlights of this album. Then the third song, which was the first single that they released, which was kind of mixedly reviewed by some fans. Some people loved it, some people didn't really like it. It's a very different kind of song for Iron Maiden. It's of course, the Writing on the Wall, and it's funny, like pretty much as soon as I put out the Iron Maiden album ranking video, you saw all these teasers for this whole Writing on the Wall Belshazzar's Feast thing, and people were like, oh, is Iron Maiden going to put out a new album called Writing on the Wall? So that was a big thing. In fact, the letters WOTW are on my Legacy of the Beast tour poster that I got with the Knights of the Dead live album. So that was only for the first single, The Writing on the Wall, and then a week and a half later they announced the brand new album. The rest of the album has nothing to do with any of those teasers. So, Writing on the Wall, great song. It's, again, very different. It's kind of this more like a mid-tempo song. It doesn't have, any kind of galloping or fast bits. It's got a very kind of southern rock, western, not necessarily southern rock, but a very western kind of country and folky vibe, like with those like opening guitar chords and especially like that opening riff. But it's very good. I think Bruce sounds great. It's probably one of his finest vocal performances on the album. Steve Harris's bass sounds really good, and the guitar solo in the middle is quite good as well. So, Writing on the Wall, really good song. Then you get another kind of epic called Lost in a Lost World. It's 9.5 minutes long, and it's written solely by Steve Harris. So Steve's a huge fan of like the prog rock bands of the 70s, like Jethro Tull and Rush and Yes and stuff. And he's really pushing like the big long ones. In fact, all 3 of the closing trio of epics are written solely by Steve Harris. So, Lost in a Lost World, it's a very cool song. It's got this kind of like acoustic, strumming opening, kind of moody and atmospheric. It's got Bruce singing in this really laid-back style. Once it kicks in, it's really good. It's got this awesome, fast, galloping rhythm, got great twin guitar harmonization that Iron Maiden's very well known for. We got more great vocals from Bruce Dickinson. The chorus is really good. It's got this big, kind of long guitar solo in the middle. So yeah, very epic song, Lost in a Lost World. Like it a lot. Then the shortest song of the album at just over 4 minutes, so you get nothing on this album, or most of the later albums, you're getting anything under 4 minutes long. So Days of Future Past, that is a very nice, simple, fast-paced song. It's not one of my favorites on the album, but do still like it quite a bit. Got this really great, huge chorus. Bruce sounds great on it again. And so got this great. So yeah, really cool stuff here. Then you get a song called The Time Machine. I like this one a lot. It's, again, it does sound like something that Iron Maiden does quite a bit. It's got that kind of like long, quiet intro with like this weaving guitar lines and Bruce's vocals. Got this nice kind of like opening verse, and then it kind of kicks into a big metal epic. So it's got another great riff. It's got really good galloping rhythms. Great chorus and stuff. Time Machine. Then you get Darkest Hour, which is, it's kind of this really cool moody ballad. It opens up with those like weaving guitar lines. God, it's big and slow and emotional. It's heavy. And I think Bruce sounds absolutely terrific on this song. Definitely one of his finest vocal performances. Just this big, slow, dark ballad. Great stuff. Then you get the closing trio of epics. So the first one is Death of the Celts, which I know as many fans are pointing out, it's kind of like the sequel to The Clansman off of Virtual 11. You especially get that with like the opening with like the guitar and bass sound. It's got this kind of like lengthy, kind of just atmospheric, weaving guitar intro. It kind of keeps the same kind of mid-tempo rhythm throughout of it, but it's still got that really galloping vibe to it. It got some great guitar solos in the middle. It's 10.5 minutes long, so Death of the Celts like it a lot. Then the last two songs, which are the two longest songs on the album, are two of my favorites. The first of which is The Parchment. It's got this like intense build. Like I love that kind of acoustic guitar strumming, like dun 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 thing, and then it rises into like this big heavy riff. It's just under 13 minutes long. So I would like to compare this a little bit to Book of Souls a little bit. I have heard a lot of people say that they like this album better than Book of Souls, which I don't agree with. If you look at my Iron Maiden album ranking, I ranked the Book of Souls as my second favorite Maiden album, so I'm a huge fan of it. This is I'll talk about this after I finish going through the track listing. So Parchment, it's got this big, sinister number, got some really sinister lyrics. It kind of keeps the same kind of slow tempo throughout, but it's got great riffs, some excellent vocal melodies. It's very memorable, especially in like the middle section. It's a very intense number, and then the last minute or so they burst into like this big fast galloping rhythm, which I like a lot. So The Parchment, it's an epic song, very kind of cool and dark sounding, like it a lot. Hell on Earth, and then it closes out with the 11-minute epic Hell on Earth, which is a fantastic song. It's very long, but it's definitely upbeat, and it's galloping, got some excellent riffs, excellent guitar playing. Bruce sounds great on it. It's anthemic, very memorable, excellent, memorable melodies. Fantastic stuff here. Love the kind of like, again, it's got that slow building intro, and then it breaks into this galloping riff. So yeah, easily one of the more immediate songs on this album. Like Senjutsu, it took me a few listens to really get into, but the more I listened to it, the more I enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely one of the highlights of this year for me. So yeah, got some excellent stuff on here. I'd say my favorite songs would be Stratego, Writing on the Wall, Lost in a Lost World, The Parchment, and Hell on Earth. 5 really great songs, and most of the rest of it I do like a lot as well. I'm gonna do a little bit of comparison between this and Book of Souls. So both of these I've talked about how these later albums, they're all long, because they've got lots of long progressive songs. And the last couple, like Book of Souls and this one, have both been double albums. Book of Souls was an hour and 32 minutes. This one is a little bit shorter. It's an hour and 21 minutes, but it's got one less song. There's not quite any 18-minute epic Empire of the Cloud stuff on here, but there's stuff that definitely is a lot like it. And yeah, and I found, and a lot of people have said that they like this album better than Book of Souls, which I don't quite agree with. I still think Book of Souls was a better album. I do like it better. It was more, it was a very immediate album for me. Like the first time I listened to it, I really got into it and it became one of my favorite Maiden albums. But yeah, those are just a few interesting comparisons. But anyways, thanks for watching my review of Iron Maiden's new album Senjutsu. Please stay tuned. I will see you. I'll try and upload it tomorrow for an Ozzy Osbourne album ranking. So thanks for watching. Please share your thoughts on this new album. I know that there have been reviews up all over the place because there's been a lot of hype for this album. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you later.